Imagine looking up at the night sky and knowing that a visitor from another star is passing through our solar system. This isn't science fiction, it's happening right now. An interstellar comet named 3I Atlas is here with us. It's only the third object we've ever observed that comes from beyond our sun's family. 3I Atlas was discovered in July 2025 by NASA's Atlas Survey telescope in Chile. When astronomers calculated its path, they realized it wasn't bound to the sun at all. It was on a one-way journey, arriving from interstellar space. In fact, if you trace its orbit backward, it clearly came from outside our solar system. 3I Atlas is literally an alien visitor, not aliens in a spaceship, more a chunk of rock and ice born around another star. So let's describe what we know about this comet in simple terms. First of all, there is no need for alarm. It's not going to hit Earth or anything like that we've seen in the movies. 3I Atlas will remain very far away from us, never coming closer than about 1.8 times the distance between the Earth and the Sun. That's roughly 170 million miles or 270 million kilometers at its nearest to Earth. It's going to swing around the sun and then continue on its way out of our solar system, so it won't be sticking around. 3I Atlas will reach its closest point to the sun around October 30th of this year. After that, it's going to head back into deep space, venturing past Jupiter's orbit by March 2026 on its way out for good. Now, even though it won't get anywhere near Earth, we can still observe it with our telescopes. It was visible to big telescopes through September 2025. Then it got tougher to see as it neared the sun's glare. Now, for a few weeks in late October, it actually is going behind the sun from Earth's viewpoint, essentially hiding in the sun's blinding light. By early December 2025, it will reappear on the other side of the sun, and we'll get to observe it again. Astronomers expect it to be observable and at peak brightness in mid-December, around December 19th. So that will be a special chance to catch a glimpse of this traveler as it heads away. So what does this visitor actually look like? Well, we have some images from our space telescopes. To the eye, 3I Atlas appears as a faint, fuzzy glow, pretty much what you'd expect from a comet. Comets are basically dirty snowballs in space that grow a fuzzy cloud of gas and dust, which is called a coma, and a tail when they get near the sun's warmth. 3A Atlas is doing just that. The Hubble Space Telescope took a picture of it in July 2025 when the comet was about 277 million miles from Earth. Hubble's image showed a teardrop-shaped cocoon of dust surrounding the comet's solid, icy nucleus, essentially a glowing head with a tail streaming out. From observations like that, scientists estimate the comet's nucleus could be about 5 or 6 kilometers across, although it could be smaller. They're not certain yet. It could be as small as a few hundred meters, but it's definitely not tiny. So for comparison, to visualize for yourself, 5 to 6 kilometers is a chunk somewhere between the size of a large city and a small mountain. As 3I Atlas has been approaching the sun, it's been quite active for a comet. In fact, it surprised scientists by starting to release a lot of water vapor, even when it was extremely far from the sun, over 3 times farther than Earth is, in fact. You see, normally at that distance, out near Jupiter's orbit, comets are too cold for much ice to sublimate, meaning, to turn from solid to gas. But 3I Atlas was already shedding water at about 40 kilograms per second out there. It led one astronomer to say it was comparable to a fire hydrant on full blast in space. So, this early activity indicates that 3I Atlas either has very volatile ices, or perhaps it fragmented a bit, exposing fresh ice that vaporized. It's a hint that this comet might have a somewhat different structure and/or history than the ones we're used to in our own solar system. The more we look at 3I Atlas, the more intriguing details we find. Its composition, for example, the mix of gases and dust coming off of it, appears to be unusual. Astronomers detected gas around the comet that contains an unexpectedly high amount of nickel and very little iron. Now, that's strange because in comets from our solar system, we don't see that kind of imbalance or ratio. Nickel and iron usually appear together in familiar comets, and not in such large quantities in the gas. On Earth, finding more nickel than iron in a metal sample might make you think of certain refined alloys. It's as if this comet has metallic compounds in its vapor that we haven't really encountered before in a natural object, which of course raises eyebrows. Also, there isn't as much water in 3I Atlas's makeup as would be expected. By analyzing the comet's coma, scientists estimate that water vapor is a relatively small fraction, probably only around 4% of the material by mass. Now, normally, comets are rich in water ice, but 3I Atlas seems to be dominated by other substances. So all these clues suggest that 3I Atlas formed in a very different environment from the comets we grew up with, perhaps around a different type of star or under different chemical conditions. Let's put this in perspective. We've only ever seen 2 other interstellar objects until now, and each one surprised us. The first was back in 2017, a strange cigar-shaped object that didn't show any cometary coma at all. The second was back in 2019, which did look like a comet, yet had an unusually high amount of carbon monoxide gas. Now along comes 3I Atlas, and it's giving us new puzzles. Early outgassing of water, odd heavy metals in its tail. As one scientist said, every interstellar visitor so far has rewritten what we thought we knew about how comets form around other stars. In a way, 3I Atlas is a cosmic time capsule, carrying secrets from a star system far away. And by studying it, we're essentially reading a note from another planetary system. And that note is telling us that the ingredients for life's chemistry, things like water and organic molecules, are not unique to our own solar system. They're out there, scattered among the stars, waiting to be discovered. Could the galaxy be sending us new archetypes, patterns of matter from other stars that expand our sense of what is possible? As Anton Petrov puts it, maybe these visitors aren't random at all. Maybe the galaxy is offering us reminders, not in language, more in archetypes, showing us that creation is wider, stranger, and more diverse than we thought. The mysteries around 3i Atlas have also sparked some more imaginative questions in the scientific community. Usually, scientists are very cautious, right? But this object is so peculiar that a few have wondered, could there be more to it than meets the eye? So, for instance, Professor Avi Loeb at Harvard has pointed out some curious coincidences in 3i Atlas's journey. On October 21st, 2025, the comet will be directly on the opposite side of the sun from Earth, effectively hiding behind the sun. Just 8 days later, on October 29th, it reaches what's called perihelion, its closest approach to the sun. Loeb notes that if an intelligent craft wanted to use the sun's gravity to speed up, a maneuver known as the Oberth effect, the perfect time to fire its engines would be exactly at perihelion, when the object is moving fastest and gaining the most energy from the sun. And lo and behold, that happens to be precisely when 3i Atlas is hidden from our view by the sun's glare. So Loeb asks, is this just a coincidence of orbital mechanics? Or could it be that the comet's trajectory was somehow designed that way? Loeb even speculated in a very outside-the-box way that 3i Atlas could be a kind of mothership, perhaps a probe or vessel using the sun's gravity to slingshot, maybe even releasing smaller devices, mini probes, toward the inner planets as it passes by. Now, to be clear, the mainstream scientific consensus is that 3i Atlas is a natural comet, not an alien spacecraft. And we don't have any direct evidence of technology or controlled behavior. It's just that some of its properties are odd. Loeb himself acknowledges it's a remote possibility, but something worth checking because of the huge implications if true. Now, the reason that I bring this up is to illustrate how this comet has nudged even very serious scientists to consider possibilities they normally wouldn't. It shows how unusual 3i Atlas is. When nature surprises us to this degree, I think it's healthy to ask questions, even seemingly far-fetched ones, as long as we keep our feet on the ground as well. So far, all observations are still consistent with it being a weird but natural comet. It's just that the fact that we're having these discussions at all is a testament to our curiosity and to the comet's peculiar allure. It's bending our expectations, and I think reminding us to keep an open mind. Another voice, Robert Edward Grant, brings yet another layer to the discussion. Grant noticed something unusual about the comet's reported speed. NASA listed it at 137,000 miles per hour. Now, to most of us, that's just a number. But in physics, 137 or 137 has deep resonance. It's the value tied to the fine structure constant, sometimes called the most mysterious number in science. It governs how light and matter interact, and some even say it's the fingerprint of creation itself. For Grant, this isn't coincidence. He connects the number 137 to sacred geometry, to the ancient measures of cubit, meter, and mile, and even to DNA. He argues these units of measures weren't invented by humans, but rather discovered, intrinsic patterns built into the structure of the cosmos itself. So in that view, the comet arriving at exactly 137,000 miles per hour looks less like chance and more like a cosmic signature. From his perspective, 3i Atlas is not just a natural body, but a geometrical messenger, carrying codes of consciousness and awakening, woven through number, frequency, and form. Now, whether you agree or not, his insights reflect how this comet inspires people to search for meaning in every detail, even in its speed. Of course, we'll keep watching Three Eye Atlas closely in the coming months, eager to see what other surprises it might have in store. Now, all this scientific intrigue is fascinating, but beyond the data and debates, there's another aspect to this moment: how it touches us as human beings. When I first heard about an interstellar comet coming through our solar system, I felt a sense of wonder and awe. It's almost a poetic feeling, like a messenger from a far off place has entered our neighborhood for a short visit. And I don't think I'm alone in feeling that. Throughout history, people have often seen comets and celestial events as meaningful, even spiritual occurrences. So let's explore that side of Three Eye Atlas for a moment. What it might symbolize or stir in us, in addition to the science. In many indigenous cultures and ancient traditions, the natural world and the sky are alive with signs and wisdom. A comet wasn't just a physical object to our ancestors. It was often considered a message or an omen. So, for example, some Native American teachings view comets as signs from the Great Spirit, heralding changes or important events on Earth. In the Hopi tradition, there's a prophecy about the blue star Kachina, a star or comet that appears in the sky as a warning and a harbinger of a new world to come. The Hopi speak of how our world has gone through several eras. They sometimes call them worlds, each one ending in purification due to human misbehavior, by flood, fire, ice, and so on. And they say that a bright bluish star appearing will mark the transition to the next era, the fifth world. Some who are familiar with this prophecy look at Three Eye Atlas with its unusual blue-green coma and its otherworldly origin and wonder if it could be such a sign. It's an intriguing thought, an object older than our planet, coming from the galactic depths and appearing now at a time when many feel the world is at a tipping point. From the Hopi perspective and that of other native peoples like the Lakota, the arrival of a comet can be seen not as a doomsday threat, but more as a call to attention. It's a prompt for humanity to realign with the natural order and spiritual principles. In this view, Three Eye Atlas might be regarded as a messenger, what one might call a cosmic wake-up call. As one interpretation of Hopi wisdom puts it, this comet, with its otherworldly brilliance and mass, could be a sign resonating with descriptions of luminous visitors stirring Earth's energies. In plainer terms, it could be here to get our attention and remind us to find balance, to correct the course of our actions. The message might be change, purify, come together, because a new chapter is on the horizon. Other indigenous traditions also speak of cosmic signs and cycles. The Aztecs, for instance, had a myth of 5 suns, essentially 5 ages of the world, each of which ended in catastrophic change due to human disharmony. In one way or another, a dramatic celestial event often marked those transitions. The Navajo and other peoples have stories of the world being renewed and people moving through different worlds with the guidance of sacred signs. Across cultures, we see a common thread. When something unusual appears in the heavens, it often is taken as a mirror for events on Earth, a signal that something is changing. It's interesting to note that 3i Atlas carries water and carbon, the building blocks of life, in its coma. To scientists, that indicates it might share a chemistry with our own comets, and it raises the possibility of what's called panspermia, the idea that comets can spread the seeds of life between stars. Now, to a storyteller or a spiritual thinker, that fact can be deeply symbolic. It's like this comet is carrying the essence of life from a distant star and offering it to us, reminding us that life's ingredients are universal. Some have even mused that as 3i Atlas passes by, it could interact with Earth's energy in subtle ways, perhaps shaking things up, so to speak. There's talk about electromagnetic interactions, geomagnetic effects, even subtle influences on human consciousness. Now, scientifically, we don't have evidence that a comet at 1.8 astronomical units can trigger earthquakes or human feelings. That's more metaphorical. But in Indigenous wisdom, when the earth is said to shake humans, it means nature reacts to our collective discord. The appearance of a comet could be seen as the earth and sky together sending us a message. Humble yourselves, restore harmony. In this lens, 3i Atlas is not a threat. It's an invitation to humility, to reflection, to resetting our relationship with each other and the planet. Now, moving from traditional wisdom to the realm of astrology, we find another set of interpretations. Astrologers throughout history have regarded comets as significant omens. In ancient times, a comet was often thought to predate big events, the fall of kings, the start of wars, dramatic changes. Nowadays, astrology isn't usually about predicting specific events like that, but some modern astrologers are definitely paying attention to 3i Atlas. They look at its trajectory through our sky in terms of constellations and planetary alignments. One thing noted is that 3i Atlas's path is highly tilted and almost retrograde relative to the planets, meaning that it's moving in the opposite direction of the Earth's orbit around the sun. Now, in astrological symbolism, retrograde motion tends to mean revisiting or reevaluating things. Think of Mercury retrograde. So some interpret this comet's retrograde-like motion as a call to revisit our collective past and foundations. It's like the cosmos saying, hey, look back at what you've been doing. Are there lessons from earlier times that you need to remember right now? Perhaps unresolved issues, social, environmental, spiritual, are coming back into focus and asking to be addressed. Astrologers also point out that during 2025, Pluto, the planet associated with deep transformation, death, and rebirth in astrology, is transitioning through a critical area of the zodiac. They see a potential resonance between Pluto's energy and the symbolism of this comet. Some have suggested that 3i Atlas arriving now aligns with a period of profound transformation, basically out with the old, in with the new, but not without upheaval in the process. The idea is that the comet's presence amplifies a kind of Plutonian push for society to face its shadows and undergo a rebirth of sorts. In astrological terms, comets can act like wild cards, or messengers of destiny. Historically, if a comet passed near a certain planet or star in the sky, astrologers would say it augments that influence. So, for example, a comet near Mercury might signal upheaval in communication. Near Saturn, it might mean karmic lessons coming due. In the case of Three Eye Atlas, its very appearance is seen as a potent sign that big changes are afoot globally. Now, of course, this is more a mystical interpretation, but it shows that people are actively searching for meaning in this event. They're trying to understand how this cosmic occurrence might reflect or influence the human story. Beyond any specific tradition or school of thought, there's the simple, personal side of this. You don't need to be Hopi or read horoscopes to feel something about an interstellar comet. Maybe it just makes you pause and marvel at how vast the universe is and how amazing it is that we can witness a piece of it from so far away. Maybe it makes you feel small in the sense that our daily worries shrink when you consider a comet that's been traveling for eons, and also connected because you realize we're part of a larger cosmos. For some of us, there's a quiet spiritual feeling that comes with this news, a sense that this visitor might have come for a reason, even if that reason is simply to remind us of the beauty and mystery beyond our everyday realm. Around the world, people are responding to 3 Atlas in thoughtful ways. There's folks planning to step outside on clear nights when the comet is out, even if only visible in a telescope or binoculars, and hold their own personal ceremony. Maybe a moment of silence, a prayer, a meditation, or simply a conscious breath while looking at the stars. It's a kind of collective introspection that events like this can inspire. It's as if this cosmic visitor is silently asking us, what will you do with this moment? What might need to change in your life or in our world? Questions like that arise when we're faced with the grand scale of the cosmos. When 3A Atlas reaches peak visibility in mid-December, some spiritual groups and teachers have suggested using that time as a moment of unity, encouraging people everywhere to synchronize their thoughts or prayers for the good of humanity. The idea is that as the comet shines brightest, we too could shine by focusing on our highest aspirations, letting go of grudges, or envisioning healing for the earth. Whether or not you believe that collective intention has a tangible effect, there's something undeniably beautiful about the image of people around the globe all looking up at the same small light in the sky and pondering our place in the universe. In a world that often feels very divided, a comet can be a reminder of something that unites us. We all share the same sky, and we all belong to the same great story of the universe. So, after all this, what does 3-Eye Atlas really mean? Scientifically, it's a rare and precious opportunity, a chance to directly study material from another star system and learn more about the diversity of worlds out there. Symbolically or spiritually, it can mean many things. And perhaps it's okay that it means different things to different people. It might be a wake-up call, a herald of change, a mirror showing us our own state of affairs, or simply a marvel to appreciate. I don't think there is a single answer. And maybe that's the point. The meaning of this moment is something we create individually and collectively. As we near the end of our journey together, I want to invite you to take a moment to reflect. Think about the vast journey this comet has been on for millions or even billions of years. It drifted through the dark, cold void between the stars. And only now, by chance or fate, it has arrived in our solar system. It came from the general direction of Sagittarius, through the heart of our Milky Way galaxy. Imagine the path it has traveled, perhaps from a star that died long ago, or a region of space we'll never see, carrying ancient whispers of its origin. And now, for a brief moment, its story intersects with ours. That thought, to me, is profoundly humbling and awe-inspiring. If 3i Atlas carries any message, and here I'm gonna step into the poetic for a moment, maybe it's this: we are part of a much bigger story. Our daily lives, our struggles and triumphs occur within a vast cosmos that is always moving, changing, and occasionally sending us reminders of worlds beyond our own. Change and uncertainty are constants, sometimes coming from the sky itself. And what matters is how we respond. Do we respond with fear, with curiosity, with wisdom and unity? An interstellar comet won't give us those answers, but it invites us to ask them. The next time you have a clear night, you might look up and remember that right now, a piece of another star system is out there, flying through our solar system. If you know where to look, you could point towards the constellation Sagittarius, low on the horizon perhaps, and know that somewhere behind those stars lies the path 3i Atlas took. Think about that connection from the center of our galaxy to the orbit of our sun, to the eyes of a person standing on Earth. In moments like that, the boundary between us and the universe feels a little thinner. Finally, ask yourself, what do I feel knowing this? Does it challenge you, comfort you, inspire you? There's no right or wrong answer. Your experience is yours. But perhaps in simply wondering about it, you're already tapping into something meaningful, a sense of curiosity and humility that is itself a gift. Thanks for spending this time with me exploring Comet 3A Atlas from the scientific to the symbolic and spiritual. In the end, the significance of this cosmic visitor is, in a way, what we choose it to be. It could remind us of our shared humanity, our place in the cosmos, and the changes we hope to see in ourselves and our world. As 3i Atlas travels on, I wish it a good journey through the stars, and I wish all of us a good journey forward in these times of change. Perhaps, like the comet, we are all just passing through, carrying the light we have, and hoping to leave a meaningful spark in the darkness. Safe travels to our interstellar friend, and may we all find insight and connection in its fleeting visit.